What if hiring could be easier, more streamlined, and less time-consuming? So even when you're busy, you could still be smart about the way that you hire. With ZipRecruiter, you could post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. So you can rest easy knowing your job is being seen by all the right candidates. Then, ZipRecruiter puts its smart matching technology to work, actively notifying qualified candidates about your job within minutes of posting, so you receive the best possible matches. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you, it finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by growing businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/J&J. J-A-N-D-J. That's ZipRecruiter.com/J-A-N-D-J. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/J&J.
Check out ESPN Films' newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the day. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom, boom,
It's been a long time.
We shouldn't have left you.
We really shouldn't have left you.
We're sorry that we left you.
Well, kind of sorry.
Without a dope pod to step to.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby.
Yes, indeed. What up, though?
We are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We get it, people!
Yes.
They want.
But sometimes we take a break.
Young Jeezy said it best. I need a vacation.
Jalen Rose went to Italy, came black. I didn't know that black people could get blacker. You got a lot blacker.
Here's the thing. Really fortunate. Florence, Tuscany, Capri, Positano, Amalfi Coast. And the thing you just said is something Molly stresses to me. You're black and you want to get a tan more than I do.
Well, it worked. You look great.
I love getting a tan.
You were out in
laying
Italy.
in the sun.
And while you were out in Italy, here at Jalen and Jacoby, we don't stop working.
You know what else happened in
I
Italy?
know you stopped working. What?
Ran into Michelle Beadle.
Beads is out there. Also ran into Mike Rod, my roommate from college. Just happened to be bopping around.
By the way, ran into, name drop, Denzel Washington and his family.
Wait. He was there?
Yes, indeed. Lovely wife. Kids.
Great.
Had dinner a couple of nights.
Was JD there?
It's great.
His kid that's on Ballers?
Yes, indeed. He was there.
He was there? He watches our show?
Yes, indeed. I
like
talked
that
to him
guy.
about coming on.
Good. Let's have him on. We don't
I've
have
been
too many
doing
guests,
a
but
lot
we do.
of
They're
recruiting.
good. Good for you. Good for you. So while you were out there in Italy, hanging out with Denzel and eating pasta and riding horses, making them look like tiny little donkeys, we were here cooking up, preparing for the next step in the evolution of Jalen and Jacoby.
Yes, indeed.
We have a little bit of an announcement to make.
And I have to say this before you make this announcement. It's really important.
I'm a little nervous.
We're officially at 6 years as a tandem.
Yes, it was at the ESPY 6 years ago that you cornered a possibly intoxicated Bill Simmons.
Like 1:30 in the morning.
And basically demanded to have a podcast.
Detroit, stand up. I
Just
stood in the
demanded.
cut.
It wasn't a question. It was like, I'm going to have a podcast at your new place, whatever it's called.
Went to the ESPY's after party, W rooftop. I sat in the cut.
And
waited till he at least had 2 or 3 beverages.
If you're out past midnight, you've got a plan. You know? 'Cause I've never seen you past midnight.
You only see me during the day.
So it was 6 years ago that this started, and now is the next step in the evolution. While you're out in Italy, we've been planning, plotting, having meetings, because you don't come to the meetings anyway. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter.
The best time for you guys to have meetings is when I'm not there.
You're not there. Listen, that's the only time we have meetings.
And it's just like your job. When they're having meetings without you, they're just talking about you.
Yes. Oh, we did a lot of that.
It's
we
all
did
good.
a lot of that.
It's
talking
all
about you a lot.
good.
Talking about you a lot. We were also talking about the next step in the evolution of Jalen and Jacoby. Starting on Monday, if you're listening to this podcast over the weekend, we need you to do something. We need you to tune in to ESPN 2 starting on Monday. Not at 2 a.m. Eastern, where you normally find us. We're going to be on at 2 p.m. on ESPN 2. An hour-long show between 2 and 3. You'll be able to catch us. And we like to give the people what they want. So we're going to offer a little incentive. If you tweet or on Instagram a picture of you confirming your series subscription to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN 2, we're going to select 20 people. We're going to reach out to them in the DM. We're going to get their address and send them T-shirts in their size if we have their size. We have gray T-shirts and we have black T-shirts. You can choose which color you want. If we have your size, we will send it to you. We're not going to overnight it. Snail mail. It'll take 20 days to get there.
It's a small token of our appreciation for your continued support.
Exactly. We just want to give the people what they want.
I have to say something that's really important.
What?
When we're talking about being in the trunk, it's all fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it's no fun until the rabbit got the gun. So I have to say something on behalf of the listeners that's been down since day one.
We love those listeners.
This is really important to me,
listeners.
as important as it is to you and for everybody to work on this show.
Say it.
We ain't selling out.
We're never going to stop doing the podcast. We're never going to stop giving the people what they want. We're never just going to give you some repurposed television content. We will always keep it fresh for those people that have been down with us forever. Because if nothing, we have loyalty in our DNA.
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
Until someone pays me more money, then my loyalty just goes away. I'm loyal to the money first. You know, my loyalty lies to the bank account. My loyalty is my accountant. That's where my loyalty lies. There's a price on everything. But in all seriousness, we're very excited about this.
Yes,
you know,
we are.
We've been evolving over time. We're going to actually prepare a little bit. We're going to have meetings. Jalen, we're going to have a couple meetings.
See, here we go.
We're going to have a couple meetings, Jalen.
Here we go.
We're going to have a couple meetings.
We're losing the show
Big
already.
boy television show, Jalen. Listen, we're going to schedule some meetings. You can choose whether
You
or not
let
you're
me
going to
know
attend.
how the meeting went.
Okay, we will. We'll send you some notes.
This is what we can please continue to do. Me and you have a great vibe all day where we text and we phone call each other multiple times.
And sometimes we even pick up those phone calls.
We could put a rundown on a Google document that could be a living, breathing piece of paper.
We have that, but
That
you're not part of it.
everybody, and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that on my computer. It's not going on my phone.
Okay.
Soon as I saw you whip out your computer, I said, that's too difficult. You go ahead.
No.
It looked too much like work.
You tried to sign to the Wi-Fi yesterday?
I'm
you
good.
couldn't do it. You're like, nah, whatever.
Nah, I'm good.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So we're going to keep giving the people what they want.
And we will never change. And now, we're going to pivot into some news of the day. Because we love our podcast audience. Remember, subscribe to a series subscription on your DVR, on cable, whatever service you have, ESPN 2 p.m. You take a picture of that. You
2
put it on
p.m.
social
in the
media.
afternoon.
Not 2 a.m., 2 p.m. You take a picture of that. You put it on social media. We're going to send out some T-shirts. Also, the podcast is going to come out early in the day now. What? It's not going to be a midnight podcast anymore. We're going to make Reggie work for this. What? Yes, that's
Well,
what
the
Reggie,
podcast always come out when I'm asleep.
We didn't talk to
I ain't heard
Reggie
the
about this.
podcast
We
in
didn't
years.
really talk to Reggie about that. That's why you're hearing somebody what's from Little John right now. What? We're going to put the podcast out earlier in the day so you can listen to it on your way home. You can listen to it during your evening activities. And it's always going to be fresh if you want to make it part of your morning routine.
And more importantly, you can listen to it at work. We love that.
We do love that. We're going to keep giving the people what they want. Remember, subscribe to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN 2 p.m., not 2 a.m.
ESPN 2. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
There's been a lot of big moves in free agency around the NBA, but a small move might have big implications. What does Kentavious Caldwell-Pope signing with the Lakers mean to you?
I don't play dominoes,
Okay. You don't?
But I do know this. KCP is signed with who as an
Clutch
agent?
Sports is the agency. Clutch Sports means Rich Paul. Rich Paul means LeBron James.
I said this on wax before it became something that was at the bottom of the ticker and a blog headline. On this show, for some strange reason, people don't always listen to our show.
Weird.
I said it on First Take. More people heard it.
I understand.
That LeBron James is greasing the skids to go to the Los Angeles Lakers.
So what does Kentavious Caldwell-Pope signing a one-year deal with them mean for LeBron James?
They're trying to only have players other than their young core in the final year of their deals. So they have the flexibility to not only bring in LeBron, but help build a roster around him. So for them to bring in KCP, now they're going to have the opportunity to get his bird rights. This is a lead domino.
So this is what's interesting to me, is because one thing I know about LeBron James, and I said this, is he will always be on a super team. Remember super team? Everyone's talking about super team. It used to be big three. It's like LeBron James is smart. He's intelligent. He also knows that he is not at the end of his career, but he's on he's on the back nine, as Aaron Rodgers would say. He's not going to go to a Lakers team that is rebuilding. So if he is going to go to this Lakers team, as you said he was such a long time ago and everybody else picked it up, who is he going to bring with him?
What makes this even more interesting is that sports happens in dog years. So this information and news changes at the blink of an eye.
It does.
If they're not able to bring in other all-star caliber players, you could ball up the piece of paper and throw that plan out of the window.
That is the thing, because we've all, as sports media, we've all just decided that he's going to be in the purple and gold. Once Magic was there, and then it sort of came out that as a rumor, and he didn't shoot it down, everyone put him on the Lakers. But he truly hasn't really decided, right?
I'm going to tell you who actually upset the apple cart.
Ooh.
The Indiana Pacers. What did Paul George say he wanted to play?
He said he wanted to play for the Lakers.
When Paul George goes to the Lakers, that makes it more attractive for
LeBron James to go to the Lakers.
When he gets traded to OKC, that doesn't help the plan very much.
He did say, he's like, hey, if we beat the Warriors, we could go to the finals. I'll stick around.
And so I'm looking at a couple of other rosters that are forming around the league. The Banana Boat Boys seem to be ending up in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Carmelo's rumored to be going there. And then we've
Chris
got Chris
Paul
Paul
is already there.
And we also have Dwayne Wade, he's on an island. He's off the banana boat. They left him on an island somewhere. He's like, I'm in Chicago. Where's Jimmy Butler? Where's Rajon Rondo? Where's Tibbs? Like, what happened?
And so, as you mentioned, while a good plan sometimes is meant to be foiled by the opponent, Indiana, OKC, Sam Presti, great GM. You lose Kevin Durant, and the next year you bring in Paul George?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's making moves in this game. And so, back to your original point about KCP. Yes, it's great that he has the one-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, but now that you see that they may or may not be able to get other current all-stars to come, that doesn't make the plan as attractive when I'm trying to leave Kyrie, when I'm trying to leave Kevin Love, when I'm trying to leave something that I know I established in the East. I done won this thing 7 straight years. So I know I got a $20 million house in Brentwood. I know I would love to learn from Magic about being an owner. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out moving forward.
You did mention the Banana Boat Boys. And there are so many rumors. Just seems like you just refresh Woj's tweet, just seeing if it happened, refreshing his feed. Is Carmelo Anthony going to go to the Rockets?
Yes.
Why is it taking this long to figure it out?
Because shout to the Houston Rockets. When you talk about franchises that have won championships in their history, have had all-time great players, they've reinvented themselves into a destination spot.
They have. It seems like in the last 2 years.
I appreciate when you can recruit current all-stars to come play for you.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with Dwight Howard. James Harden was yet to be an all-star when they got him. Now all of a sudden, Chris Paul leaves The Clippers, who I was on wax when he was at Soul Cycle, like, oh, he ain't leaving. He got on his slides.
Yeah, his kids
listening
are
to 444.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere. He bolted. And for him to leave the way he did, to go join James Harden, I give the Houston Rockets, who then turn around and give Harden a mega contract this offseason. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, it's going to be interesting to see when you look around the West, like, wait a minute, Houston had a three-pointers chance last year to play against the Warriors, and they just added Chris Paul
and Carmelo Anthony?
This is going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Am I crazy to think that they might not be favored to beat the Warriors if they add Carmelo, but it's close? It's closer than it was last year. Last year, we felt like it was going to be Cavaliers and Warriors, and guess what it was? Cavaliers and Warriors. If the Rockets add Carmelo, I don't feel the same. I'm not saying that the Rockets are going to win the West. That's months and months and months away. We'll see what happens. But I'm saying it's not the inevitability of the trilogy that we saw last year.
And also,
that was a great rhyme, by the way.
It was. It would require Houston, who has been at the forefront of the analytics three-point crave, to play a lot more conventional. Mm-hmm. And you need to be a team almost like the NFL. Chip Kelly, he wants to play hurry up. I don't care how much of a genius you are in football. Sometimes you got to control the clock.
Yes. Down and distance. You have to play to the situation. And the same thing, you have to play to your roster. Like, you're going to have to give up Ryan Anderson, who is a Rockets player. He can defend in the post. You can put him at the 4. You can even put him at the 5. But you know what else he can do? Shoot from 30 feet from the basket. You take Carmelo Anthony, not a prototypical Rockets player. He's an ISO guy. He's a mid-range guy. He's a give me the ball. Let me figure out how to get my defender off balance and get a bucket for myself. That's not Rockets basketball. But if you have the opportunity to bring him in, you bring him in.
Same with CP3. It's a lot of pick and roll with him. And while he's a capable three-point shooter, he plays mid-range. He drives to the basket.
He's not Eric Gordon.
He's a physical presence in the post sometimes, going against guys his size. And so adding that to James Harden, who was second in the league in the MVP race, to Russell Westbrook, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, as I mentioned. And I applaud the way they've been able to reinvent their roster and recruit elite-level talent to come play in their uniform.
One of the arguments that I always just cannot stand it when I hear it. I cannot stand it when I hear it, but I'm going to ask you about it anyway. There's only one ball. You've got Carmelo, you've got CP3, you've got James Harden, you've got 2 point guards and an isolation scorer. There's only one ball. It's not going to work. What would you say to that?
Here's how sports work.
How's that, Mr. Rose?
If you're playing in the backyard, the park, or the YMCA, when you're running with guys on the court, if they're making shots,
you give them the ball.
You give them the ball. Yes. You don't even have to think about, that's all media stuff.
Yes.
Who's Batman? Who's Robin?
The Alpha Dog. Whose team is this? Yeah, I can't wait till we're going to have that. I guarantee you, if they get Carmelo, we are like 24 hours away from a whose team is the Rockets. Is it James Harden's team? Is it Chris Paul's team? Or is it Carmelo's team?
It's Leslie Alexander's team.
That's fair. I'm assuming that's the owner of the Rockets. I had one of those I need to talk to Jalen about this moment, Jalen Rose.
You did?
I did.
Those always make me nervous.
This one makes me nervous even speaking about it into live microphones. There was a gentleman who was trending, and he was trending for all the wrong reasons. A gentleman by the name of Sammy Sosa. I have a very simple question for you, and you know what I'm talking about when I ask it. What's going on with Sammy Sosa?
I'm not sure.
That's probably the most intelligent answer you've ever given in the history of this show.
No explanation. He's starting to look like somebody that should be starring in one of Eddie Murphy's movies, like Coming to America.
Yes, he's playing too many characters. They need to put Hollywood makeup on him. It's one of those things. It's like we all know that person in our life or that person in the public eye that has like a dysmorphia problem, especially with their face or their body, where they think that going under the knife and some sort of like cosmetic procedure is improving their appearance.
Lil' Kim.
But it's getting to the point. Yeah, that's a great example. But it's getting to the point where you might think you're improving your appearance, but you're making yourself look less and less like your original self or an actual human being. In the case of Sammy Sosa, I have a fear that this is happening.
Once you go black, Sammy, you never go back.
Sammy Sosa's getting lighter. You just keep getting darker and darker. You go on vacation for 12 days, and you come back like, wait, whoa, I thought you were black before, Jalen. I did not think you could get blacker.
I ran into Sammy in the airport.
Really? Did you just
He let me hold
off?
something.
We got to move on. Lonzo Ball has been the story of Summer League. And not LeVar Ball. It has been Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball against the 76ers in Summer League had 36 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. Should we be excited about this, or should we just chalk it up to being Summer League?
I want to quote the great American philosopher LeVar Ball.
Okay.
Lakers gonna get that ball, and they gonna get that ball.
What do they have with Lonzo Ball?
They have a guy that seems to have all-star potential.
Oh, for certain.
And when you get drafted, and we talk about the expectations that are on him, and you sit next to one of my idols, the Hall of Fame mogul Irvin Magic Johnson, and he looks at the jerseys in the rafters and says he expects yours
That would scare me a little bit.
to be up there.
I'm not a professional athlete, but that would intimidate me a little bit.
Anything LeVar has ever said to him to heap pressure on him, we should all apologize. Because that was, if you're talking about setting the bar high, it has never been set that high even by LeVar. When LeVar was talking about beating Jordan, he was talking about him playing.
Yes.
When he was talking about being better than Steph Curry, he know that's not true.
Yeah, when he was talking about, multi-billion-dollar shoe, and, he's talking.
Here's the thing. I said it in this microphone multiple times during UCLA's season. If you look at the personality of the Ball kids for public consumption, in particular Lonzo, quiet kid.
He's quiet.
Not really outgoing.
You can tell he's intelligent. He laughs at his dad a little bit. Like, you can tell there's something in there. He's not a robot like Kawhi Leonard, but he's quiet.
His dad has a backbone. He's from the hood. He's loud. He's boisterous. He grew up. He's now raising his kids in the suburbs. So that edge that he has, he's giving it to them. And I like to compare it to boxing. Youngsters, Google Bundini Brown. Google Crocodile. Muhammad Ali had the first one. Mike Tyson had the second one. They're called hype men. Public Enemy had one. Flavor Flav. The guy that's going to stir the pot, and all you got to do is just walk in and do your thing. And all of a sudden, we're paying attention to what LeVar's going to say. He had a couple of bad games in preseason.
He had a very bad game the debut of preseason.
Summer League.
Yes.
Right? I appreciate that not only he showed up, and granted, I'm not going to overstate Summer League.
Yes, 36 points in Summer League is just 36 points in
But
Summer League.
I appreciate doing it when LeBron James is there.
And what I love that angle. But before we get there, what I appreciate is the way that he is doing it. The long outlet passes, the left hand finishes like that's his strong hand. Like getting up and really being ambidextrous around the basket and shooting from long distance. Like it is 36 points in Summer League, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's a really nice looking 36 points in Summer League.
It is, and I also acknowledge it doesn't matter what's said because of his style of play. He's a uniter because he gives up the basketball, and it has energy. We all feel good about it when we're holding it. Hey, Mom, look at me. Hey, Coach. Hey, teammate. They trust me with the ball. And so he's a guy that can give up a good shot to get a great shot. He's going to pass guys open. He's going to throw lobs. So they're going to love him.
Can we talk about LeBron being there now? I would play very differently if LeBron James was sitting in the front row. Do you think that had an effect on his performance?
It did. It's no different than when you're watching a game and you see celebrities at the game.
No, I have another question. Now, this is the real question. Was that a bit of an audition for Lonzo Ball?
It was an audition. That's what Summer League represents for all young players and free agents, using it as a proving ground. But again, when the lights were bright, and again, LeBron wasn't in uniform, of course.
No.
He did show up, and I appreciate that.
Do you think LeBron James is going to be on League Pass watching Laker games this year?
He watches all of the games.
Do you think he'll be watching Laker games this year?
And I got to say, a boss move for you, LeBron. I don't mean to pull people behind the curtain too much. LeBron is such a mogul while he's playing people sleep on the fact that he has a vested interest to be there. We look at it like, oh, he's just being a fan of the game, which he loves the game. But if you haven't been paying attention, LeBron James basically represents a couple of players that play on his team.
Yes. And he has a very strong relationship with Nike. The shoes that Lonzo Ball was wearing during the game. Soft move or boss move, balling on the baller shoes. Bailing on the baller shoes.
It's a soft move.
It is. Come on, man. I'm rooting for the baller brand. I'm rooting for these shoes to be successful.
But hit the brakes.
Okay.
Like I said from the beginning, people felt like, oh, he's turning down money from Nike. He's turning down money from Adidas. His father's costing him money. I remember watching numerous television shows use that as a subplot. And I've always said what? He can always get a shoe deal.
Yes, somebody tells me that Nike will answer his calls.
So therefore, I'll ball in your shoes as a free agent. Here's the boss move he should do. Just start wearing different pairs of shoes.
Wear Adidas next time. I definitely think that the performance of the baller brand shoes is the reason that he wore other shoes. He was like, look, my legs, remember he sat one game out in Summer League? I feel like he was like, you know what? These legs are going to be my future. Let me not play. Let's get the baller brand shoes athletically, performance-wise right before I start rocking them. And I am rooting for this brand to succeed. I can't believe I'm saying this now. Like, I've really changed my opinion on this. I am rooting for the baller brand to succeed. I love entrepreneurship.
Who do you want on the show first? LeVar or Lonzo?
Lonzo.
We'll get it done.
Jalen Rose. Your mans.
My mans in them?
Michigan Wolverine, Derek Jeter, and Michael Jordan are part of a group. They're trying to buy the Marlins. Did they call you to ask you to be a part of it?
They didn't.
They didn't call you?
They did not. And here's the thing. Big shout out to Derek Jeter, Players Tribune, representing for the ESPYs. We got a chance to do our fine program from there. The GOAT, Michael Air Jeffrey Jordan, getting involved with ownership. I appreciate the fact that these all-time great players have put themselves in position to be owners in baseball, Magic in basketball, as well as Jordan. The next step, however, is for people that look like them to be in that position that aren't all-time greats.
There's a lot of gray in our hair, and there's also a lot of gray area in sports.
Speak for yourself.
It's not just a black and white world. And so for this, to explore those gray areas in my hair, we like to have a segment called 0 to 100. I'm going to propose a question. You're going to answer with a number. Sometimes you don't. And then you're going to explain your number. Okay? First, last night with the ESPY Awards, let's just take a quick look at a controversial joke from Peyton Manning's mom.
And our gymnastics team was so dominant that Kevin Durant told me he wants to play for them next year.
Zero to 100, Jalen. How much was KD's reaction serious?
I think when you invite elite athletes to your award show.
0 to 100, Jalen. How much was KD's reaction serious?
And it's the 25th anniversary. That's the number I'm trying to give you.
Okay.
You heard the number?
25. 25% serious? There's been conflicting reports. One of our colleagues says that he was in on the joke and knew about it ahead of time. And then our other colleague, Rachel Nichols, said that it was not planned.
My number would suggest what?
There's 25% serious. There's 75% joking. So mainly, he doesn't care. Here's one thing I know. When you win a championship, it's all good. He's not worried about being Peyton Manning making fun of him.
Here's what I watched for.
Ooh, what'd you watch
Just
for?
like I'm a professional lip reader, I'm a body language expert.
What'd you see?
I saw when the joke was made, the people that were loved ones of Kevin Durant,
Wanda,
and Russell Westbrook, they were dying laughing.
Yes.
They would know that those are sore spots. And if they didn't know something was going to be said to allude, I'm not saying that the joke was tipped, but you're a former comedian. You know how this works.
You also know my philosophy on this. What is it?
You can be mean if you're funny.
And that was a funny joke. Thank you, Peyton Manning. I thought you did a good job. Next. DeMarre Carroll said that the Raptors lacked trust and had a divided locker room. 0 to 100. How much of that do you think is true?
50%.
Oh, okay.
He was in the locker room. He played quality minutes for the team. He probably didn't live up to the expectations that they set for him when they signed him from Atlanta to his contract that he initially got to play with the Raptors. Now, obviously, he's a member of the Nets. But a lot of what he's describing has to do with style of play as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what DeMar DeRozan is? A professional scorer.
Isolation player, mid-range scorer. Give me the ball.
That's his game.
I make a move on my opponent, and I score the ball.
So if I'm not doing that, they're not paying me $100+ million to play basketball.
But you said 50%. Do you know what I think the other 50% is? Guess what? When you got Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan on your team and Valanciunas in the post, you're not going to get the ball that much. And you know what they want you to do? Catch the ball and knock down the shots. And he shot, I don't have it in front of me, 36% from three. It's kind of on you a little bit. You shot better from three, you get the ball more. You've got better scorers on your team. So he's over here saying, oh, we're not an isolation team. We need to move the ball more. We need pace and space. Maybe your team is playing for their roster and you're not a part of it.
And the second thing is their backcourt is a volume, shooting, scoring tandem. And this is where the game has changed, where your primary ball handlers lead the team in points, in shots, in free throws attempts. So to your point, you got to be able to knock down shots when you get them.
Hold up.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
0 to 100. How much do you think Conor McGregor is intentionally using racially charged words and phrases during the promotion of the Mayweather fight? It's a tough one.
I was on stage.
We saw you there.
At the Staples Center. So I got a chance to get a glimpse and hear actually what's being said. It's another thing as a professional lip reader to be able to see what the cameras pick up, see and hear what the cameras pick up. I physically got a chance to hear the verbal jousting. I would say 30%. Not
it's hard to say.
Pronounced as some of the headlines that I've seen.
Yes, it's hard to say because we're not inside of his head and his heart and his soul. But you should know enough to know that there's certain words you don't use, and he's used a couple already. So it is hard, but he's also kind of just freestyling all the time and boisterous, and he is in an environment where you are trying to disrespect your opponent as much as possible.
Floyd said it best. He ain't been on a stage like this. The biggest purse he had was $3 million. It's a lot of money in MMA. He's going against a guy whose last fight made $100 million. And he's fought 49 times and has not been defeated. And when they first took the stage, and I sent you the video, Conor was doing his little dance in front of Floyd. He almost slipped and fell.
He had hard bottoms on, though. We know how the hard bottoms are. You're not used to wearing hard bottoms. You know how that can go.
Correct. And Floyd, stoic demeanor.
Yep.
No wasted energy. No extra animation.
He's been there before. He doesn't have to sell himself.
Oh, it's my turn to perform? Give me Mike.
Yeah, it's also I'm 40 years old.
Where's my bag?
I don't need to prove myself. I'm 49 and no. I'm about to be 50 and no.
And so when you have 13,000 people to show up at your press conference, guess what you need to do? Entertain them.
Yes.
That's what Conor's trying to do.
They're doing a good job.
That's what Floyd is doing. And this is, again, the springboard to why so much interest is going into the fight on August 26th.
It is. Next, the Hawks CEO, they had that Tinder night, and they called it Swipe Right Night. He said he would pay for the wedding of any couple that met at a Hawks game on that night. Well, a couple met on that night, and they are now engaged to be married. The Hawks CEO, true to his word, is saying he will pay for the wedding. My question to you, little tweak on it, 0 to 100,000, where do you think he set the budget?
I think he's going to give them a $10,000 budget.
Oh, come on. Jalen, first of all, you've never been married. Okay? That's like flowers. You know what I mean? Like that's like flowers and like the limo home. You know? That's not even the dress.
He didn't say he's paying for the outfits.
That's the thing. It's like I want a contract involved. I think lawyers are getting involved. Like this is tricky. We want to have it in Antigua. You know what I mean? So now you got to fly people there. Like where's the you paying for it?
You just opened up my Pandora's box to make my $10,000 number sound more reasonable. He didn't say he was paying for travel. Mm-hmm. He didn't say he's paying for outfits. He didn't say he's paying for food, drinks, and entertainment. He said he's paying for
the wedding. Cake. He said, I said cake real quiet under my breath.
How much is the pastor? How much is the cake?
Last one. 0 to 100. This is going to hurt. How depressing was it to hear that Calvin Johnson retired because the Lions are such a trash franchise?
81.
Well done. We have a very simple motto on this program. And that motto is? Part of giving the people what they want is opening up the floor to the people and asking them what they want. The people can ask us questions on our Twitter feed, on our subreddit, and they can call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us a voicemail, and we will play it on the show just like this.
What's going on with Jalen Jacoby? This is Julian from Buffalo. Quick question. Soft over boss move, using the great American philosopher David Jacoby's theory on you can be mean if you're funny by saying that in a staff meeting about your office culture.
A staff meeting at the office was called cultural. That's a boss move.
Oh, okay. Well, I know one of us likes to have meetings and one of us doesn't. I know that about the dynamic of this program. Some of us on the staff like to have meetings, prepare for the show, go through the B's, how can we improve, what we should do differently. We like to meet and have conference calls and things like that. Someone in this room isn't really into that kind of thing.
I have a stern motto that the people will appreciate.
What's that?
I do not want to do the show in a meeting.
But what about meeting about the show?
It's the exact same thing.
No, it's not, Mr. Rose.
It's the exact same thing. Me and you talk multiple times about the content we're going to discuss on this program. But you don't know what I'm going to say, and I don't know what you're going to say.
I pretty much know what you're going to say by now. It's been 6 years. Next, we're going to open up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed. This is from Marco. Marco says,
Polo.
That's funny. How much in money would you take to get knocked out and off the off chance score an upset asking for a friend named Connor? Basically what he's saying is, what's the number on you fighting Floyd Mayweather? $0. I'm not fighting Floyd Mayweather. You know? $0.
$20 million.
I would love to see this. Can we please start a GoFundMe to have Jalen Rose fight Floyd Mayweather for $20 million? The thing is, he wouldn't do it. He'd be like, all right, I'm getting 19. You get $1 million.
First off, Floyd is my brother. Big shout to the money team. I appreciate the love they showed me at the press conference. I was up there with the family and whatnot. And I'm looking forward to the bout. So when I look at it from that angle, there's no dollar amount to put me in the ring with my fellow Michigander.
That's what I said. $0. I'm not fighting Floyd Mayweather. Next we have from Brent. He says, I'm driving the in-laws minivan for the week while I'm on vacation. Is it okay for me to give other minivan mafiosos the nod? Obviously, this is a question.
I got to say something before you answer.
What's that?
I sent you a tweet from Hugh Douglas, former NFL player and colleague here at the network, who I follow on Twitter. He was spewing blasphemy at those who drive minivans and have the nerve to act like they're going fast and change lanes.
Okay, you know what, like, 80-year-old overweight people don't do? Go on diets. Like, they just stop caring. And then when you have a minivan, you just stop caring what other people think. It's like, oh, you're going to make fun of me because I drive a minivan? You know what you're not going to make fun of me for? Having a big family, being comfortable, being efficient and safe. You're not going to be mad at that, are you? Is that funny to you? You're going to clown me for being safe and efficient? Financially responsible? Clean?
You know, Big Hugh, stay in shape. I'll let you and him take that up.
If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on the show just like this.
Jalen and Jacoby. This is David from Rhode Island, long-time listener. What is OBJ doing with wearing shorts and no socks at the ESPYs? Please explain to me. His Achilles cannot be shown like that. Please, I need this. You got to give the people what they want.
I saw Odell Beckham there. He had the supreme Louis Vuitton look going, the red and white. He did have kind of like a short thing going on. I'm seeing a lot of shorts, suit shorts. There's a lot of shorts at the ESPYs. Are you with the short wave?
I'm not mad at it. It's not a look I would rock.
Mm-mm.
But here's the thing about summertime dress. People complain if you wear your socks.
Yep.
People complain if you don't wear your socks.
And another thing is
and for me, people always complain when I'm not wearing black socks.
Yeah, you have to wear black socks forever now. You have to wear baggy shorts and black socks forever, no matter what. Like, why don't you have a bald head, Jalen? Why don't you chip your tooth again? I'll say this is, as a New Yorker, shorts are just not an option because of all the things that your legs would touch on the subway and, like, just the dirty streets and the rats crawling up your leg and all of that. Like, no, I'm not wearing shorts. The only time I'm wearing shorts is when I'm swimming, I'm playing basketball, or I move to Los Angeles and become soft.
Do you think it's being a little dramatic to say a rat crawling up the leg?
There's a rat crawled up my friend's leg one time. That's what I was referencing. It jumped out of a trash can, crawled up his leg, and he made a sound that was not very masculine. Finally, we have another Twitter question. This one's from TJ Sims. Does Jason Tatum play more minutes than Crowder next year?
No.
I don't think so either. I think people get so excited about rookies, especially this time of year, and then once they start playing in the NBA, like, oh yeah, he looks like a rookie.
Well, first and foremost, one's going to be a starter, Crowder. The other isn't, Tatum.
Yes. And, like, while Tatum has shown the ability to score and he has shown the potential to, like, turn into a true NBA scorer, he's, like, 20 years old.
How about the number one seed in the East? Nobody could say they predicted that. If you want to remember the Boston Celtics squad or organization, added Gordon Hayward to the roster.
Who's also going to take minutes away from Tatum. And also, you know, Tatum's going to have to guard him in practice, so we'll see a little bit of that.
But Tatum does have a game. It's going to be interesting to see how now all of these young players develop together. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Will they now become pieces in one big chess game? Yeah!
Chess master Brad Stevens is at the helm. There's a lot that goes on in the world of sports and pop culture. There's a lot to get discussed on the various different networks and various different shows. But here on Jalen and Jacoby, we cut through the clutter with a little game called Keep It Moving. If something's not worth discussing, we keep it moving. I don't even know how the game works. If something is worth discussing, we'll hit the brakes. Jalen Rose, let's start. An iceberg the size of Delaware broke away from Antarctica. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Let me tell you some more about it. In Antarctica, it is a large collection of, like, basically an ice continent. What is happening is global warming is bringing this ice continent to the point where large fractions of it are breaking off and then going into the ocean. This one is the size of Delaware. Shout out to Delaware for getting this much press. But
Shout out.
Does this mean that we're all going to die soon?
It does not.
It doesn't? But is it cause for concern?
This conversation is cultural because once it gets too cold, you lose me.
Another thing
once I hit Antarctica and glaciers and all that, I'm like, you keep that on that side of the room.
Yeah, exactly. How does this affect me? Like, does this affect my kids? Like, maybe my kids. Like, maybe. And you know what? I have a hot take here. I like warm weather. You know, it's like, oh, global warming is coming to kill us all. It's like, well, you know what? If you live in Detroit, that doesn't sound so bad. If you live in Chicago, it doesn't sound so bad. People in Canada are like, global warming, I think I'll take it.
I just hit the brakes because I knew you'd get enthusiastic about this topic and look at you.
You do that for me. Thank you so much. Next, the Gwinnett Braves in Lawrenceville, Georgia are giving fans the option to rename their team. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Really? Okay. Well, the options they're giving them are Big Mouths, Buttons, Gobblers, Hush Puppies, Lamb Chops, and Sweet Tea. Which one's your favorite?
I don't love any of them.
I didn't like any of those either. It sounded like a menu. You know what I mean? That's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like, I'm sorry, we don't have the full lunch menu. We have the bar menu. Gobblers, Sweet Tea, Hush Puppies.
We talk about terms we're going to retire. You know what they are in sports. Which mascots are going to get retired?
Redskins, Indians, Braves.
It's going to happen.
And Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz has got to go too. Utah Jazz has got to go too. Next. Dak Prescott made a bold prediction about the Cowboys' performance next year on the ESPY's red carpet. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving. We're not going to force football topics, but I was happy to see him get Breakthrough Athlete of the Year at the ESPYs.
The Pelicans are talking.
Look at the pelican fly.
The Pelicans.
Look at the pelican fly.
The Pelicans.
Look at the pelican
The
fly.
Pelicans are talking to an NBA champion point guard, adding to their team. Are you intrigued? Keep moving or hit the brakes?
I want to see Rajon Rondo pick up on a good squad, but keep it moving. That'll be a lot of Kentucky. These rosters going to have a lot of Wildcats on them in the next few years.
Tony Romo thinks that Aaron Rodgers...
Keep it moving.
Anytime Tony Romo's involved.
Big shout out to Aaron Rodgers, who, as you know, because you were standing within earshot, is going to come on our program. We don't have many guests. So I came up with an idea when we walked away from that conversation.
What was that?
We need to find a way to have a guest list. It's legitimate.
Like
We've
some
only
sort of
had
guest
like
list? Just where we want, but just people that were
6
targeted.
guests in 6 years.
I think that's fair. I think that one thing I do want to say though is I was within earshot, but I don't ear hustle. I'm not like an Uber driver, so I didn't hear the conversation. So I just got to learn that Aaron Rodgers is going to come on the show. I look forward to it. Next, Mark Cuban said that he is the reason the Mavs didn't draft Giannis Antetokounmpo. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Okay. He explained that Donnie Nelson wanted to draft him, but he said that even as good as the Greek Freak was, he thought that he needed to develop into a good player, and the Mavs needed someone who could contribute right now. However, the person they drafted instead did not contribute.
Who was that player?
I don't know. I didn't do this segment.
That's what makes our program great.
Let's keep it moving.
So when you talk about preparation, it's a two-way street.
Westworld leads with 22 Emmy nominations. I'm going to hit the brakes on this one myself. Jalen Rose, what is Westworld about?
Oh, West Coast.
West Coast?
All day.
What else?
Yay, yay.
It's Ice Cube, just like walking around the West Coast,
Yes,
wearing
indeed.
some Chuck Taylors.
No doubt. All of the
just-
things that embody the West Coast. Khakis,
Okay.
Chuck Taylors,
Okay. Game of Thrones is back on Sunday.
palm
How
trees,
excited are you for
low
the new
riders,
season of Game of Thrones?
movie stars.
How excited are you for the new season of Game of Thrones? Keep moving and hit the brakes. Game of Thrones.
Keep it moving
That's
fast.
what I figured. Paul George said there
Hit
was
the brakes.
Ooh, okay. Paul George says there was a trade proposal between the Pacers and the Warriors that would bring Paul George to the Warriors, but the Pacers in return wanted Klay Thompson. If you were the Warriors, would you think about it at least?
No.
Yeah, me neither. The
You're not breaking up
you know
the
what the
Splash
Warriors
Brothers.
did? They heard that phone call. They were like, let's keep it moving. Tony Romo confirms that he
keep
is
it moving.
retired. You said hit the brakes. You said hit the brakes on a Tony Romo topic. You said hit the brakes on a Tony Romo topic. Do you know that Tony Romo was doing
those
like
that
fake
have this
play-by-play?
program in closed caption.
And the people told Tony Romo that he was being too harsh with his play-by-play. Tony Romo was being told to dial back his criticism with the play-by-play. That is very encouraging for his media career.
Who created this news?
Tony Romo?
And the network he probably is working for?
Mm-hmm.
Good job by them.
Good job by them. Good job by you, Jalen Rose. You can
And
now
I like
catch us
Tony Romo.
every afternoon on
Thank
ESPN
you.
2. It's Jalen and
Thank you.
Jacoby.
You got to give the people